effect of this is that it will blow apart the whole rotten structure that I've been talking about. This is not government of the people, by the people, for the people. Starmer represents government of the blob, by the blob, for the blob. And when it fails, it will be the blob that failed, not Britain. I think we should be talking about cancelling the Prime Minister, shouldn't we, really? This is the sort of thing, and I'm making a bit of a joke of it, but it's actually a very close line to being serious. This is the kind of thing that got people put in jail back in July.
Starmer feels less like a real political force and more like a well-designed presentation walking on stage. Watching him lead the UK is like watching someone handle a complex task without truly understanding the basics, yet carrying himself with unshakable confidence. His presence comes off rigid and uninspiring, as if everything is technically in place but the human element is missing. He follows the process, but there's no warmth, no energy, no real sense of momentum or purpose. He shows up, he speaks, he performs the role, yet people leave each time with the same feeling. Something important just wasn't there.
I've never met Keir Starmer, I'm delighted to say, but we have, as they say, previous. At the time of my cancellation back in 2020, Starmer was the only person in public life who wanted poor little Darren Grimes and me to be charged under the Section 6 of the Public Order Act, which I think carries mandatory imprisonment and up to 6 years. But is the measure of the man, the measure of his nastiness, the measure of his desire for vengeance, the measure...
Then there's David Starkey, a historian recognized for sharp analysis and unwavering precision. Starkey didn't merely criticize Starmer, he took the argument apart piece by piece. He exposed how the carefully built image of competence stands on fragile footing. With steady confidence, Starkey stripped away the surface to show what really sat underneath: thin substance, repeated talking points, and a leadership approach that brings nothing new to the table. It wasn't dramatic or noisy, it was controlled, methodical, and quietly crushing.
Of up to 6 years. Right. Now, even the Times, that was not very sympathetic, wrote a third leader saying, this is mad. One public figure supported that charge. Sir Keir Starmer,
of course,
ex-DPP. And this is where they are a real, genuine and...
Starmer's central weakness is the belief that he's a champion of moderation, positioned to calm Britain's political turbulence. In reality, he appears to represent very little with conviction. His leadership lacks direction, resolve, and creative thinking, as his focus on appearing sensible overshadows the need to stand firmly for something meaningful. The result is an approach with northwest visible drive, no bold edge, and no defined vision for the country's future. His constant effort to sound reasonable leads to policies that feel empty, forgettable, and short on lasting impact.
Starmer. This constant fact that he harks on about being chief prosecutor. He's not, he's called Director of Public Prosecutions. But chief prosecutor, what does it make him sound like? It makes him sound like a figure out of Stalin's Russia. In Starmer's eyes, he is clearly of impeccable character. He is...
Starkey didn't need theatrics or raised volume. He simply pointed out what many already sense. Starmer doesn't appear to be truly leading. He seems focused on shaping impressions, softening language, and avoiding risk at every turn. Every decision feels filtered through layers of committees, cautious wording, and prolonged hesitation. Under this approach, politics feels drained of energy, like reading an overly long office message that says very little while still demanding attention.
It's a genuine emergency. There is a constitutional emergency. There is a political emergency. These things are manifestly malfunctioning. The proposals, the new Labour, the renewed Labour, actually it's just old new Labour proposals of Gordon Brown will make a bad situation even worse. They will destroy what little faith there is in politics and politicians. Yes, but with a very heavy heart. Yes to a referendum.
Starmer appears to believe that avoiding firm positions makes him seem wiser and more broadly appealing, but no one feels motivated by someone who fades into the background. He carries himself as though standing still will naturally translate into respect and authority, yet it mostly leaves the public uncertain. People are left wondering whether they're watching him reflect, hesitate, or simply avoid action altogether. Nothing in his approach builds trust, momentum, or genuine enthusiasm, and his style projects caution without conviction rather than confidence with purpose.
Starmer's quite extraordinary. He's like a kind of speak your weight machine. What are they? We have working people. We have dear me. I've heard them so often. My father is a toolmaker. All these phrases constantly recurring, almost as though it's a kind of computer. It's almost like I've used an old-fashioned phrase, a speak your weight machine. He's a kind of AI, but he's not. AI would do it very, very much better. Very much better. Because Starmer is something.
His repeated shifts in position only deepen the problem. One moment he signals major reform, and soon after those commitments fade into vague, polished language that says little. He speaks with the tone of someone already excusing decisions not yet made, and the only pattern that holds is the absence of a steady one. Starky picked up on this quickly and showed clear dissatisfaction. Each time Starmer addresses an audience, the momentum seems to drop. He doesn't engage people so much as study them, as if measuring reactions instead of truly hearing concerns. Place him in an everyday social moment, and the atmosphere would likely turn stiff and uneasy.
Problem is, and we're going back to Starmer and whatever, the left in particular just believe in a culture of words. The absurd dispute about Elon Musk and doing that, or rather that, which shows he's a fascist. Here is a man who has just spent £44 billion making sure that X has freedom of speech. I don't think freedom of speech was very high on Adolf Hitler's list. But it's the entire left is about words and.
Remarkably, Starmer can make even past rivals seem more animated by comparison. At least they projected a clear set of beliefs, regardless of disagreement. Starmer, by contrast, appears stuck in a perpetual training exercise where every policy feels provisional and every response carefully controlled, yet he still expects public support. Support for what, exactly? His message often lands as little more than not being the other option. Rather than coming across as a driving force, he seems like someone simply holding the position until a more decisive presence arrives.
Starmer, as the Baldwin biography makes clear, has fundamental and indeed fundamentalist beliefs. He is a believer in the supremacy of law. That doesn't actually mean the supremacy of law, it means the supremacy of lawyers, of people like him. He believes that basically human society should be constructed according to rules made by people like him, which are enforced by people like him, and prevent anybody else who is not like him from having a say in anything. And it's through the device of this strange thing called human rights law.
Starky, grounded in rigorous thought and historical perspective, was never going to overlook this. He methodically peeled back Starmer's public image, layer by layer, exposing a lack of substance underneath. Behind the prepared lines and refined statements appears a figure defined more by avoiding controversy than by firm principles. Yet steering clear of offense is not the same as leading, and declining to take a position often means yielding to every side. One week he speaks in favor of workers, the next he offers reassurance to financial leaders. At one moment he emphasizes environmental responsibility, and at another he quietly steps around influential interests. Starky's conclusion was clear: this is not resilience, but retreat presented as caution.
What I'm really struck by, much though I detest this government, the situation that it's finding itself in is actually starting to force it to think. It's doing it very reluctantly. The whole bias of the Labour Party is it is the welfare party. It pretends to be the party of work,
yes,
but in fact it's the party of.
Meanwhile, Starky arrived equipped with evidence and historical context. arguing that Starmer's standout accomplishment seems to be making people forget that Labour once represented firm principles. Starky showed no anger, he took the case apart with calm precision, allowing history itself to carry the weight. He reminded viewers that Britain has seen decisive leaders with conviction, clarity, and the resolve to stand by their positions. Against that standard, Starmer appears out of step, his tendency to avoid clear lines leaving him stalled on nearly every major issue: Brexit, the economy, immigration, education, each following the same cycle. First comes a broad, unclear remark. Then a pause to gauge reactions. Next, a clarification that says even less. After that, communication is blamed. Finally, there's an uneasy smile before moving on without real resolution.
It's exactly this. And instead, what Starmer has done is to dare to go back to fundamentals. But does he know what he's doing? Does he really, well, he does now, know what an extraordinary can of worms he's opened? I mean, part of the problem, isn't it, is Starmer is a man with absolutely no sensitivity to language. Starmer did not write this speech. Of course he did. Starmer doesn't write any of his speeches. He thinks and talks like an automaton. Somebody has put these words in his mouth.
By now, many Labour supporters have stopped feeling anger and settle instead for tired disappointment. They expected leadership and were met with hesitation. Starmer's version of opposition feels weak and unpersuasive, leaving even his rivals puzzled that he's meant to inspire concern. In public, the effort to appear controlled is unmistakable, every word meticulously rehearsed, every pause carefully measured. Yet all that preparation falls short. His speeches lack energy, fail to connect, and carry no urgency. What comes through instead is a sense of weariness and a clear absence of conviction in his message.
Starmer and I have previous. How's he gone so badly wrong? Well, several people, I mean, if you think of Rosie Duffield's magnificent letter, she points out that this is a man who is now Prime Minister of the country who had no political experience. He is also not simply a lawyer. Everybody said to me, how on earth can this man be a QC? How can he be so, well, A, dumb, and B, how can he be so bad at public speaking? You know, from nasal whine. Well, I suppose he can't help that he comes from Reigate, but that's or indeed, my father was a tool maker too, but I did something about it, I suppose. But what has gone wrong with Starmer is that
Starky didn't need volume to make his point. He simply held Starmer up for everyone to see as he truly is. What emerged was a leader who questions every firm stance, whose primary political talent lies in avoiding clear answers. His career appears built on staying just engaging enough to be noticed, yet never assertive enough to challenge anyone. Britain needs decisive leadership, not cautious reassurance. Still, Starmer speaks of rebuilding trust, as if voters have forgotten the promises he abandoned on his way to Labour leadership. It's like expecting applause for a trick that no longer impresses. The result isn't renewed confidence, it's rising indifference.
Starmer's something completely different. He's our first totally non-political Prime Minister. He embodies something, I think, completely new in British politics that we've never seen before, and we're already realising just how dreadful it is. What Starmer is the incarnation of all the fundamental changes that have taken place in our constitution, a kind of behind-the-scenes revolution since Blair. Starmer has a real set of values. He believes in the rules. Theresa May believed in the rules, but Starmer's are much more structured, much more focused.
Whenever Starmer speaks of change, it rings hollow. He repeats the term without ever defining it, delivering statements that feel mechanical and detached. Starky's calm reaction spoke volumes. Starmer's message lacks both energy and substance. Yet he continues standing there, expecting approval. The public isn't persuaded, they're already looking elsewhere for leadership.
We've seen through them. We are all now the little boy crying out, "The emperor's got no clothes," and Starmer is marching stark naked, repeatedly stripped off, telling lie after lie after lie, which we all know are lies. This is why trust in politics is collapsing. People know their...
What makes it worse is that Starmer seems convinced his method is effective. He speaks with confidence, yet there's no warmth or character to match. Many are left questioning who he's really addressing. Starky didn't overstate the case. Starmer's extreme caution and neutrality make him fade into the background. In trying to appear steady, he instead comes across as distant and easily forgotten.